Hey guys, Tommy G, middle-aged millennial, and we're going to have a bit of fun today. There's something I found which...
Baby shark, do-do-do-do-do, baby shark, do-do-do-do-do, baby shark. Mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark, do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark.
Daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark, do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark, do-do.
That's better. We're going to be talking today about, let me see if I can work out my screen here. There we go, there's Maddie. We're going to bring him on. Ready, set, recover. Okay, and actually I've been working out how to use some of the tools here as well to actually fix up my light, because I was having a bit of a play there with the, so it's a bit brighter in the background, so I've had to overexpose it a bit because it gets a little dark under here. So, ready, set, recover. What's that all about? Well, balls to the wall all the time.
Hey, Maddie!
Oh my God,
My God, what is that transformer behind you there?
Oh, this thing?
It's like some sort of robot.
Well, I actually kind of said, when I look back, I'm like, somebody's got a red head, so they're flushed. And yeah, it looks like a transformer, but actually it's just a workout machine. It's a functional trainer. It's one of my favorite pieces.
Wow.
That thing or something?
No, well,
Like Alien, when Sigourney Weaver got a big robot to fight aliens.
you can do tons of stuff. Like you can do pressing on,
There we go.
rotational stuff.
Cool.
Wow, what are those things cost?
Oh, $3,000 to $5,000.
No, okay,
Well,
well. Put one here on the balcony. As it gets like
Resolved by the stuff coming off the sea water.
Okay,
Okay, I've got everything done. Trying to put my earphones on. I think we need yours too.
In fact,
Play Justin yours.
I'm going to
I'm going to put mine on. Hold up.
Okay. Now,
That should be better.
apparently yesterday these didn't sound very clear. Is it the same?
Listen, I think if I have my headphones in,
Yeah.
we're all good.
We're all good? All right, I'll take mine
Yeah,
out.
because it goes back to, you know, your voice going in my ear instead of out of the phone and then back into the phone, right?
Right.
So
How come I don't have
there's
the
a,
same problem though?
so do you have an echo?
See, right now I'm just going off the phone. No echo.
Good. Then you don't need them, right?
Okay. All right.
I
So,
have my goofy headphones that are broken. So,
they're broken.
but we're ready to go.
All right, we are. All right, so ready, set,
Recover.
What's up with that, man? Come on, I feel like if we're working out, we're getting in doing the work, man. It's like none of this sort of sitting around crap and taking it easy. You know, I want to get in there. I want to improve. You know, I want to keep the balls to the wall, foot to the floor, pedal to the metal. I mean, come on.
I hear you, man.
This recovery stuff.
Well, let's just put it this way. If you were a machine, which I know you think that you are, all you'd have to do is to lube you up, make sure you do some checkups here and there in your machine. You just keep going, right? You don't have anything to deal with. There's no recovery period. It just works, right? You plug it in, let it run, oil some parts every now and then, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, take a bit of Gatorade, you know.
Yeah.
What other crap can I stick in my body? Yeah.
Well, let's not do the Gatorade talk. We won't go there. But
I'll just have
anyway.
pure sugar instead. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the thing is this: when you think about recovery, we have to understand that every time you work out, every time you train muscularly through strength training, resistance training, you're breaking down muscle tissue. You're microscopic tears in the muscle.
Right.
So and you're giving it a chance to hopefully heal, build up, so it can take on another strength training session. So it adapts and gets stronger, right? So that's the whole point of what we would call periodization in training. where you would gradually build up your strength, and then you maybe taper off a little bit, and then you build it up again. And because the ebbs and flow of life are part of training too. You can't train at peak level 12 months a year, every single day of the week. Again, it just doesn't work that way. But you can have tremendous recovery in between your sessions that will allow you to have the energy, the muscle recovery, to perform at a higher level the next time.
So sort of doing this.
Yeah, so if you train really hard on a Monday, right? And you know you're going to train again on Tuesday.
Yep.
Depending on how you set your program up, if you're doing some type of strength training, let's just say. And personally, I do strength training every single day, at least 5 to 6 days a week. I don't blitz my muscles by doing, let's say, I don't do 20 sets of just chest exercises, right? I don't. What I do is I do 4 to 6 sets every day from different positions, different angles. So it affects different parts of the chest. And you can do this throughout the whole part of the body. So I'm not saying it's the best way for everybody. Personally, I like to be in the gym or outside training because I like the active part of it every day. Yes, I'll take a day off here or there, whether I want to just go for a walk or a climb or something, a hike or whatever. But my point is or totally rest. Depending on how hard you work, depending on if you have any soreness the next day, you want to make sure that you recover. Now I have about 7 or 8 different ways you can get a quality recovery period, or what you can do during your recovery period to help you get over that soreness, to help you prepare for the next session. Because on Monday when you train, you break down muscle tissue, and between that day and the next session, you have to repair it to build it back up. So depending on what you do.
So you're getting
yes.
an adaptive response to build stronger, but you've got to come off as well to allow that to happen. It's like a rest and digest, the sort of instead of the flight, it's like a yin and a yang. Yeah?
Yes, and you were talking about that before. When you chimed in to get me started last time, for whatever reason it locked up, so I couldn't get on. But anyway, so yeah, the yin and the yang. If you were to think about this, when you work out, that's the yang, that's the masculine. Okay, the yin is the recovery. It's the bringing in of nourishment and rest. So you push out, you work out, you expend energy, and therefore now you have to bring in, or yin, you have to bring in energy.
So there's like an exertion, and then there's a inversion. I don't know.
Insertion, literally and figuratively. Yeah, literally and figuratively. We know that the yang is the male or masculine energy, and the yin is the female. So yes, of course, it makes sense on all levels.
Okay. On all levels. Thanks for that.
Yeah, on all levels. In case anybody wants to know, we talk about everything here.
The yin and yang, yeah. All right. So there's some I was almost going to say some exercises that you can do to yin. Or...
Of course, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. You have numerous ways to recover. You could do just the nutrition part, the sleep part. We'll talk about this. You could do hydration, massage, and all that. But you could also do what we would call active rest. So if you want to talk about the active rest part, we could talk about that. You want to talk about the active rest? Yeah. So one of the things that I think people have to be aware of is when you actually exercise and you're sore, sometimes, or a lot of times I should say, people just want to rest. They don't want to do anything, right? Because they're sore.
It is. Just like sitting and do nothing.
Right, to recover, right? But here's the thing though, when you're sore, that's just the metabolic waste of muscle metabolism. And that sits in your body, in the muscle, until it flushes out. So active rest, movement, right? Not high intensity, just movement, and I'll go over some things, helps to flush that lactic acid buildup out. I'm being very general. I don't want to get too techie and too deep on it. The bottom line is just think of muscle metabolic waste sitting there, lactic acid from being broken down, and now you have to flush it out. And one of the best ways to do it is movement, because you have to realize when you strength train and you have soreness, you have that lactic acid buildup from the training sessions. You have that soreness. when you bring in oxygenated blood, it takes that acid and pulls it out in a very general way of thinking. So you help to flush along with water and good nutrition, but you flush that out and you move it. So I always tell people, if you're sore, that doesn't mean sit around, do nothing, and recover. I think you should move, but here's what I mean. Active rest means go for a nice walk. Okay, get blood flow, get oxygen. Get that oxygen into the system to buffer that acidity. Remember, oxygen is probably the most, if not the most important thing in your body, because it's the only way you can live. But what happens when you work out with weights, you're utilizing sugar for energy. So it's called anaerobic, or without oxygen. That's why you can't do push-ups for 5 to 10 minutes straight. You have to rest because the metabolic system or muscle cannot use sugar that whole time. Your body shuts down because there's not enough oxygen. So therefore your muscle cramps up and tightens, and you have to stop. So you're not using oxygen as an energy source, you're using sugar in a very general way.
Which is why in the muscles it's glycol, isn't it? Or some different form of sugar. Some goes to the liver to store, and the other stores in the muscles, and then you need oxygen to make it energy.
Right. So here's I'm gonna just really in a snippet. I don't want to get too deep in this, but think of the muscles as electric. They call piezoelectric. Don't worry about what it means. The bottom line is minerals conduct the electricity for the muscles to contract and release and contract and release.
Wow.
Minerals conduct electricity. Now, if your body is lacking in oxygen, let's say you're doing push-ups and you're running out of steam, literally, the muscles can't contract anymore because there's not enough oxygen. So what happens is the acidity of the muscle builds up, which means the electricity starts to deplete. Okay? And therefore the pH of the muscle lowers, which means there's a lack of oxygen, which means that's why you stop and you fatigue. So now
acid starts to
build up. Yes. Now, from that point, you have to recover. That's why if I give you a workout and I say I want you to recover for 45 seconds or more, to be able to do the next set at the same amount of intensity, that rest period is to get oxygen in, to get the muscle to rest and build up more energy to be able to do it again. So my point is this: when you do active rest, okay, whether it's walking, a light swim, maybe some Tai Chi, some light yoga, not stressful yoga, some light yoga, something simple and easy that's low intensity, you'll start to, that uses some oxygen for energy, where it's lower intensity, not high, then you're going to flush a lot of that metabolic waste out of the body, along with drinking water, etc. And that helps to flush all that soreness away quicker than if you didn't do anything. So active rest is a great thing.
So you want to flush things out. It's almost like doing a fast for your muscles.
Totally, no question.
You're cleaning toxins and stuff out. You still need to move. You're not lying in bed saying I'm recovering or I'm in front of TV. You're actually still moving, but you're moving at a lot lower rate. So you're still doing this. You're not switching off. You're just coming off. And
and years ago, when people had back injuries, they would have the people rest and do nothing when they had back injuries. But the problem with that is that you get stiffer and you have no motion and you have no fluidity in the muscle. You have no blood flow and oxygen. You're stiff, you're stagnant, and the body builds up a lot of lactic acid, and there's numerous other things that happen. The point is we've advanced in our thinking, and it's not about just doing nothing. You have to move a little bit. I know if I'm sore anywhere, I'm going to do something light and easy to flush out the toxins. I feel better, number one. And my muscles recover quicker. Yeah. So I'm not stiff for 3 days. Right? Because so active rest is a great tool to utilize when you're recovering.
Rest.
Right, and it means that it's low intensity, it's not high intensity. It's very easy, where the heart rate may get up a little bit, but it's very simple. Very, it's just easy on the body, so it helps to flush out the toxins.
You can do it for a long time. You can probably do it forever. So, heart rate to what level? Is there a certain
honestly, if your heart rate's getting up, that's too much.
Okay.
Here's the point. You should be able to have a conversation with somebody. If you can't have a conversation with somebody, you're going too fast.
So
you need to lower.
Slow jog is still too much?
I honestly, it depends on the fitness level of the person.
Of course, okay.
I think walking is especially if you do a good walk or even a little bit of a hike, but just simple walking is just a great tool. Just a great tool to recover. So, but yeah, active rest. Active rest is a great way to get through. And you know, I think let's get into. I only have about 15, 20 minutes, so let's blitz through these.
All right, so let's do it.
So nutrition, okay? Yep. We know through many of your Facebook Lives and just in general, we know that nutrition is really important to recover. We know that that your body needs proteins to recover. Now, there's always going to be controversy about the vegan thought process and the paleo and the meat eaters, et cetera, et cetera. The bottom line is this: when you eat food that has some protein in it, and every food has a little bit of protein, it's just to what level do you know, a piece of chicken, 4 ounces, has 22 grams of protein, 20 grams of protein, but a piece of broccoli may not have but half a gram or a gram. But it's all based on weight too, and it's also the biological, the bioavailability as well. The point is this: you want to have a good quality protein throughout your day, and it can come in multiple forms. I'm a big believer in, I think if you can utilize some grass-fed and grass-finished meat, I think that's a good thing once or twice a week, for numerous reasons. Whether it's for testosterone, it's a good quality protein. It has all the amino acids that you need. But remember this: when you eat protein, a whole food, your body has to now take that protein in the digestive system and actually break it down into individual amino acids to then put it into the body to then actually make protein again. So you break it down, a whole food, into amino acids, and then the body says, okay, let's build these amino acids into a complete protein to build that muscle again, or to build whatever structure.
You know, fix that muscle and you know, the little micro tears, make it stronger. Of
course. So nutrition is really important. I think depending on the activity level, I'm a big believer that if you can get some good quality carbohydrates in, and I'm also, I like to have a shake after my workout. I don't need it 5 minutes after my workout. As long as it's within a half hour to an hour. For me personally, I think that's a good recovery mechanism. Because if I work out hard, I want to get a little bit of carbohydrate to get into the stores of my muscle. And then allow the proteins to do their job. So the carbohydrates, think about the word carbohydrate.
Yep.
Carbohydrates bring water into muscle, right? Hydrate. Okay. So that's important. But the protein has a job of repairing and healing and building of muscle. Carbohydrates you need sugar storage in the muscle. And then of course, some quality fats for numerous things. Number one, energy. Number two, hormone production. And this is all that Ann talks about and Dr. Pete. But in general, my point is good quality nutrition is really important for recovery. And everybody's going to be different, whether it's 2 meals, 3 meals, 4 meals. We have to learn what works best for us. And you're going to know that by how quickly you're recovering. So you don't overtrain, and if your nutrition isn't on point, you're not going to recover. And you're going to see your strength go down, maybe see your muscle size change. You're probably not sleeping well. So it's really important to get quality nutrition. Next, unless you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of the food piece. I'm glad you put in there, because you need those building blocks in recovery to make you stronger for next time round, for that adaptive change to happen on the mother trend, right? So as we yin and yanging or oscillating, you know, not only is it the light exercise, not switching off, it's the lighter exercise because we're oscillating, we're not switching off. We've also got to bring in some fuel to help fix things and to help clean things and to refuel in the way of carbohydrate to get some of that, I think, glycol or whatever into the muscles ready for the next time, so they're fueling up as well. So, and like you said, you know, you've got those amino acids from the proteins. Now, what about you know, there's the whey proteins, there's all the protein powders versus clean meat, you know.
listen, if you could go, and I know Pete talks about this, I'm sure Ann talks about it as well. I'm a big believer in first trying to get everything from food as much as possible.
Right.
From whole foods.
Of course.
There's a part of me that feels that if you can get a good plant protein or a whey protein from a good quality source, I think there's some benefit from it. I've always sort of tiered back and forth on the studies that go out by these supplement companies. Are they the ones that are reporting on their product being beneficial for their powder for the study they did? You follow? It's just like the drug industry does. And I'm not saying they're good or bad people. I'm just saying we just have to try to get your sources from food as much as possible.
Put it into the proper
Does that make sense?
perspective and know what forces are driving it. Yeah.
Now, we talked about the yin and the yang. When you exercise, it's yang. It's energy out. The food is the food is yin. It's bringing nutrition into your body to repair and recover and build up the muscle, the body again.
Yep.
Now, that's really important. It's all about balance in life. So sleep we know is really important.
Recovery.
And I think, so a lot of people, they could get 8 hours of sleep, but they're not fully recovered. They still feel tired. So I think there's a benefit to deep quality sleep. And I think there's a benefit. I think the circadian rhythms of life, okay, that when the sun comes up, we should be up. When the sun comes down, we should be lowering the volume of our day, right? If you could sleep from 10 to 6 or 10 to 5, that 7 or 8 hour period, I think those periods with the cycles of life and just everything in general, we're talking esoterically here a little bit and woo-woo, but that's okay. I think there's some value and benefit to getting that 10, 11 o'clock window to 6 or 7, that 7 to 8 hours in that time period, or even 11 to 7, depending on what your day is like. But in that period, I know people get up at 5, which is awesome. If you go 10 to 5, is that the best time for you, number one? And number two, we know hormonally speaking, you can have the best output of the proper hormones at those times. It's also when your body is in that repair and recovery and restful state to allow you to go back and do it again. It's almost like when you take your car and you drive your car, well, you just went through a tank of gas. Now you park in your driveway or whatever, you drive, you go to the next, and you fill the tank up so you could drive the car again. So when you nourish your body through fuel and then you rest, it's that time your body gets to rehabilitate itself, to rest and recover, so that you can go through your day right after you sleep. And the key is this: uninterrupted sleep as much as possible is really, really important. Now, obviously, at certain ages, you may wake up for numerous reasons. You may have to go to the bathroom. But in general, the goal is to get as much deep quality sleep as you can. And of course, the darker the room that you sleep in, the better. Okay?
Yep.
I think counting your wins and having a good state of mind, a relaxed state of mind when you go to bed, and working on your breath and counting your wins and what you did well that day, as opposed to all the things you didn't do well. These are ways to lighten the load in your mind so that when you rest, you could recover. Anything on that, or we can move on?
Yeah, I mean, here's my aura ring, and that's checking out my deep sleep, my REM sleep, to get that ideal, my HRV overnight, right? This is huge recovery stuff for anybody, even if you're not working out hard in the gym. That's recovering just in life in general.
Totally.
And physically, you're getting a big benefit from this, which is going to benefit you back in the gym, to get you a nice platform to go heavier again, provided you've slept well. Don't eat like an hour or two before you go to sleep, or any calories.
At least that.
Food especially, right?
Yeah.
Keep that, because otherwise your engine's still going before it goes into recovery mode. We've got to get to your recovery heart rate as quickly as possible in that sleep. Something else you said as well that prompted a thought around recovery, which has now left the building. So, anyway.
All right. Well, it'll come up. In the space between thoughts, it'll surface. So here we go.
Right,
so,
there we go. Yeah, I don't get a lot of space between.
One of the big things that people are learning more about, and you hear about it on other podcasts, is contrast shower and bath, right? The hot and the cold.
Yeah.
It bites. So they say that if you're going to do a contrast shower, you should do about 2 or 3 minutes of warmer temperature water, and then about a minute of colder temperature water. And I'm being general, at 2 to 3 to 1 ratio, to the point where you can almost deal with a cold shower. There's so much benefit to the cold showers, and it comes down to improved immune system, circulation, anti-inflammation. It's just, there's so many benefits to having the contrast of hot shower, cold, hot, cold, or the bath, either one. And they're showing in a lot of the research, as well as the athletes that do it, and just people in general. The cold has huge benefits. It's better for the skin, and I think we all kind of like that hot shower. What's that?
Hormones as well. It's kicking off the right hormones.
Totally, absolutely.
Hair and cleaning and whatever.
Well, think about this. Before, I guess you'd say hot water heaters or industrialized nations came up with how to heat water, most people probably showered in lukewarm or probably colder water throughout generations in history, right? I don't think they put, water on a fire, boiled it, and then you took a shower, right? So
I don't think caveman got the choice.
No. So that's what they did. And I think we're just doing anything in the industrialized nations. We're dealing with sometimes in excesses, and hot showers are one of them. I think a cold shower or lukewarm or learning to lower that temperature is a very good thing. Let's talk about this. Obviously, hydration is important. Depending on the type of exercise, I always say this: if you weigh yourself before you work out, especially if you're somebody who sweats a lot. If you weigh yourself before you work out, and then you weigh yourself after, see how much weight you've lost, especially if you're, like I said, if you're a big-time sweater, and then drink enough water to get that back to the original weight. The thing is this: water is really important. I'm a big proponent of anything that has minerals in the water. So coconut water, I'm a fan of, especially if it's from a good quality source.
It's great for endurance as well. Coconut water is great.
Well, again, remember, the minerals are what conduct the electricity. That's what makes you hydrated, number one. Number two, again, it's also beneficial for every single cell of the body, is the mineral content, okay? Because that is what creates, you cannot have things function without minerals. That's what conducts the electricity for you to live, actually. To be able to move we don't want to talk about paralyzation, but the paralyzation is the lack of electricity to a muscles that can't contract and move you. So we have to make sure the cells of our body that are supposed to be basic on the pH scale are more towards that 7.3, 7.4, and slightly above that level. Once you start getting down to 5, 4, 3, and 2, you're talking about high acidity levels and disease state, inflammation state, fungus state, a state where you can cause a lot of problems. So hydration is really important. And also, obviously, there are signs that you're hydrated where you cramp up, you get stiff, mouth is dry, and dry eyes potentially. So these are just things to look at and be aware that if you get your 6 to 10 glasses a day of around 6 to 10 ounces of each, 45, depending on how your age, there's so many variables in this. I just say, if you can get good 64 ounces to 80 ounces a day of good water, I think you're going to be in the right place. Some people, and I know Mr. Dr. Pete Rouse, we all talk about squeezing and putting a little sea salt in the water, right? A little sea salt, sprinkle a little sea salt. I do that sometimes. I think it's very beneficial, especially for the adrenals, for numerous reasons. But so that's important, is to have your water. Now, there's some people that believe that distilled water is good. I'm not sold on that because
it's demineralized, though, right? It's like no minerals left in it.
So here's the thing, and not to get into a long song and dance about water, but if the body, if water in its natural state is mineralized and you take the minerals out, is it possible? And I'm just in a logical sense. If you have distilled water in your body, is it possible that it might want to pull minerals to balance itself out naturally? I'm not saying yes or no, it's just something to think about. So I'm not so sure on this distilled water thing. But anyway, so hydration is important. I know I'm going fast. I have probably maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Who knows when they'll walk in. I think massage is great. Massage is great as a tool for recovery. I think foam rolling, a self-myofascial release, is great for recovery because it gets rid of the knots in the muscles and helps to recover. And it's sort of corrective in its nature. If you have a knotted muscle, if the muscle is supposed to contract and it's all knotted and twisted, the roller, I'm being general here, I'm not getting too detailed, the roller helps to release some of those knots so the muscle functions better and contracts better. I know for me, when I foam roll, I feel looser, I feel more blood flow because the muscles aren't twisted and knotted up.
You get the whole muscle working for you.
Yeah.
When I used to get rolled and then I'd go for a long endurance run, I felt like I had so much more muscle in my leg. It just felt easier.
Yeah, no question. Think about it. If you have, I'll just say, in your leg muscles, I'm just going to make up a number. It doesn't matter what's right or wrong. Let's say in your thigh muscles and in your lower leg muscles, there's 15 to 20 muscles. I'm making it up. It doesn't matter. If you have muscles that are knotted and tight and dehydrated, they can't function properly, which means other muscles, in a very logical sense, probably have to do more work, which is why you have compensations, which then lead to injury, right? So we have to be aware that foam rolling is helpful for recovery, drinking a lot of water is helpful for recovery, and of course, stretching is another one. And I'm a big believer in stretching. Some people don't think static stretching, where you hold the stretch for 20 or 30 seconds, is beneficial. I think it all depends on what your goal is as an athlete and as a regular human being. I think stretching or some type of yoga is very good for lengthening of muscle, as long, I'm a big believer that
for calming down the mind. Yep.
You got it. It's the yin part. It's the yin part. It's the bringing in of it. Foam rolling, knotted muscles, and then stretching them is beneficial too. Here's a quick example.
You gonna show us some foam roll action?
I'd like to get through this. Hopefully they're late.
All right.
But let's say this is your muscle, right? Let's say this is your. It's just very. I just want people to grasp this. Let's say this is your quad muscle right here. This here. It's a strand of the muscle, and it's knotted, right? Okay. And this is not how it. But let's say it's knotted.
Yeah.
If you want to stretch that muscle, you want to do this, but it's not. What happens when you do this?
Well, you got a knot. It's like there's less stretch.
There's more here, and this, you're not stretching this knot. This knot here is not getting, so you have to unknot it by massaging it out, right? So that the whole muscle can now stretch.
There we go. It's like I was saying when I run. I mean, I've got the mobility back into the rest of the muscle because like some of the muscle just wasn't working.
Yeah. So these are just very simple things people can do. I'm a big believer, if you can, and you have the availability to do some type of steam or sauna, I think it's a great benefit to recovery. I just think there are two great ways have you ever seen these flotation devices too?
Yeah, the flotation tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got them here in recovery centers.
Oh,
Bridge
nice.
Recovery is one of them here, and it's got like all the magnesium or different salts and stuff in them as well, and they're dark and they're quiet.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Again, the yin is the darkness. It's the calming. It's the relax. It's the recovery. It's the rejuvenation. It's the allowing, right? And that's critically important when it comes to balancing your exercise, which you and I are a big proponent of exercising every day and moving your body and getting fit and strong and healthy. But we know to do that, it's important that you recover in between. Number one. Number two, I always think that as we discussed, some light activity or some active rest is important too. And so if you're sore, as we said in the beginning, go for a walk, do some light calisthenics, do some Tai Chi, which you could probably watch a video on YouTube and just do it right in front of you. I think Tai Chi is a great exercise. I think a light yoga, a simple walk, even an easy swim. I think there's some value to, especially the ocean, if you have the ocean.
Would swimming be a recovery thing? Or just depending on how fast you're going, like walking or running?
Just like anything, it's a recovery thing if you're not totally out of breath and you're not struggling to stay out of from drowning.
You're still doing something.
Of course, it's beautiful. It's less stress on the joints too, right? The goal is to lessen the load, but get some motion. Lessen the load, but get some movement.
Get some blood flowing through.
Yes. So real quick, just do a quick synopsis. Number one, we want to do some active rest to recover in between our sessions if we can, for sure.
Active rest. Active rest.
Number one. Number two, we want to make sure we eat quality, nutritious foods. because those foods have literally the chemical structures and everything you need that goes into your body to help repair your body so they can build up strong, healthy cells. 3, we need to get good quality. We need to get good quality sleep. I've been sitting this whole time. That's why I'm moving a lot. I apologize. A good contrast of hot and cold shower is great. Start off with 3-to-1 ratio. 3 minutes hot, 1 minute cold. Break down to 2-to-1, then 1-to-1, and that's that nice little exchange. Hydrate. Get a good amount of water in your body. I prefer to have minerals in my water, or coconut water, or something like that. A nice, simple. If you get a massage once a month and do self-myofascial release, people can PM me and I can send them pictures and exercises and everything. And then some type of light, easy stretching. All these things can benefit somebody in their recovery. And I think the sleep part is really important. Quality of sleep, like deep sleep, where you're in a whole other place, right? That it's and for some people it's difficult, but with practice you can get deeper sleep. Of course, it's always about having a restful mind when you go to bed. It's about darkness of the room,
Temperature,
all those things. Temperature of the room. I think too hot's no good. I think if you could, I think that the hot area, the hot shower, the hot room is not a good thing. I think there's some better. I'm actually, people talk about when you sleep. Do you sleep with a pillow or not a pillow? Do you sleep with 2 pillows, 1 pillow? The whole thing is you want to be as flat as you possibly can, because anytime, let's just put it this way. This is a good way to end this. If you're flat, this is you and this is the bed. Your adrenals are going to recover. As soon as you start to rise up, now gravity starts to take over, and now your adrenals are going to have to start to work a little bit. Now, there are certain situations where you may be sick, right? That if you, and you may be ill, that maybe laying flat isn't a good thing. Like my mother was always on oxygen, and she had 50% lung capacity. Not a good thing to sleep flat on her back. And she had very bad scoliosis. So my point is the majority of people, the flatter you can sleep, the better, because your adrenals will shut down. But if you have any elevation where you start to stand up and rise up in your sleep, your adrenals are going to turn on. Nobody wants to hear that, but you're not fully rested. And that's critically important.
During the day, it's fine, but like you said, you got to be lying down as part of your recovery routine, especially when you're sleepy, and then it's quality of sleep. Once again, I mean, there's tech, because I'm the digital health tech guy. It allows you to monitor how well that's going, and maybe see what practices we need to put in, whether it's some form of supplementation or certain exercises with your mind, or whatever, to get you into the right sleep state.
No question about it, and I do think that there's some huge benefit to that. And I think a lot of times, when you want to sleep well, you have to avoid eating, as you described, too much before you eat, because your body is trying to digest food, which takes energy and effort, and you're trying to rest. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't make sense. The engine's still running, man. You got fuel piling in to the actual engine, not into the tank, into the engine, and then the engine's not like going to use it that much. And then there's going to go, well, we got to put this somewhere. The muscles are full of glycol or sugar already. The liver's full already. I know what we'll do. We'll convert it to fat, right? Exactly. So, no question. Yeah. With looking from an epigenetic point of view as well, with recovery times, when you exercise to get that oscillation yin and yang happening, through like pH 360, for example, you can also see it there where it times it in. And I know for you, when you put my workouts together as well, you're drawing from that inventory of what's best for me. So we then take more of a one-to-one approach as far as when people recover, how they exercise, how they oscillate. So cool. All right. Yeah. So I think it's probably it, Matty. They're going to kick you out of the gym, yeah? Well, they said 8:15. It's 8:20, and they're not here yet. So, I mean, we could count it down. Has anybody commented at all, or probably not? I don't see any. No, she's been pretty quiet today. Must be everybody must be gearing up for. You got Easter weekend coming up. Is everybody recovering now? They must be in recovery.
recovering from having to see us every Thursday or
Well,
Wednesday.
it says, it shows me some of these people who I know these people are watching. All these people are
Right.
watching now. I don't know if they didn't have a question. It says, let me ask you this. It says there's one person watching, but there's all these, it shows 5, 6, 7 people that have come across my screen that are actually watching. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know how FB does that sometimes. Like it
Yeah.
says nobody's there, but there are, or whatever. So, all right. Well, look, why don't we land it then?
Cool.
Great session. I mean, unexpected because they're expecting to see Matty, the workout high energy guy, to be in there.
I'm ready.
Let's go do this, and this is the other side, which is so important, so underrated for peak performance. If you're into peak performance and you want to go long, you need to do this to build.
Totally.
You need to do this, right? So you know, we talk so much about the yang piece. We've got to make sure we're cognizant of there's a yin factor as well, balancing it out.
Yes, and I think that's the beauty about this whole thing is for each person, we all have a distinct genetic DNA and body, and our bodies react to things differently than everybody. We have to learn what works best for us. What are the mechanisms of recovery that I can do, I'm willing to do, I'm committed to doing, that work for me? And the only way you can do that is through experimentation. The only way you can know what foods are best for you is how you feel after you eat the foods, right? What exercise is best for you. All these things, you have to, this is what the journey is all about, is to learn to know all about yourself so that you know how much rest you need, you know how much food you should have, you should know how much water, you know how much recovery. When you learn about yourself is when you start to evolve on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. I think that's what all of us are trying to do in all these Facebook Lives. What we're trying to do is we're trying to say, okay, we have all these things, all these toxins in life. Some of them we can control, some we can't. But in general, we need to move our bodies every day. That's the yang. We need to exercise and work out, expend energy, but then we also have to bring it back in and nourish the body, nourish the soul, nourish the mind through our mental processes, through our physical processes, through our rest processes, and also, you know, connecting to yourself, to me, is more of a spiritual journey than anything. You know, connecting to myself and what makes me who I am and what makes me happy and what are the things that I enjoy exercise-wise. You know, if I tell somebody I want you to do this, this, and this for an exercise and they cannot stand it, well, they're not going to be compliant. But if I say do these things instead and they say, oh, these are great, well, then that's what they like. That's what they're going to be compliant with. Same with foods. I could give somebody a whole nutrition plan, but if the foods don't make them feel good, well, they have to learn what works best for them. And this is where things are headed, by the way. Things are headed towards very specific to the person, whether it's nutrition, your recovery, it's your workouts, it's very specific to you, because having a cookie cutter, it doesn't count into any of the factors.
One size doesn't fit all.
No,
and like you said, we have the science. I mean, that's why I talk so much about pH 360, because it's the only thing I've seen that's out there. There's an epigenetic way, which is what it's all about, not just your genome, but which genes you're expressing and what, you know, you're unique because of your DNA. So,
yes,
you know, doing it through that point of view, it sounds like you've got people coming into the gym.
They are coming in.
Coming on in. Come on in. But being able to use a tool like that is all about you and what type of exercise, when you recover, what you eat, all these sorts of things are right there. I did this with my execs, you know, and their heart rate variability. I've been in recovery from being sick a bit last week, and I'm getting, instead of heavy sympathetic now, which was last week, where my body was, temperature was up, heart rate was up, resting heart rate was up, everything was up, getting rid of something through some inflammation. Now it's gone back the other way, right over to parasympathetic. And that means that I'm in recovery mode. Either I'm overreaching, obviously, or I'm overreaching in training, or my body is in a recovery state, which is what's happening right now. So, you're right, man.
But this is what you're doing. See, you're learning about your body because you're taking an active participation in it. You're not putting it in anybody else's hands. You're saying, okay, let me learn about me. Let me research a little bit. I always, and I know I use this probably one of our first, people spend more time and energy on buying a gift for somebody than they do about their health. and they do about what this amazing thing that they sit in every day and they lay in and they move and it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
And so I think the fact that you're learning about yourself and what makes you feel good and what works for you is everybody should be doing. And
Everybody
you
should
don't
do it.
have and you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to deal with signs and symptoms of disease. Your body is begging you, not just you, but all of us, your body's begging you and pleading with you to nourish it every day with quality
Give me what
thoughts.
I need.
Yes, it's honestly, it's the most important relationship you'll ever have.
Yep.
It is the most
Yeah.
important relationship.
If that one falls apart, you're not going to be able to have the other ones.
Right, and that's why
Learning
we
with
have to
yourself.
learn. Yeah, we have to learn what is it that we need to make us ourselves be happy. You have 70 plus trillion cells. Each one of them are literally looking at you saying, please, I'll be good to you. Just give me what I need.
Give me what I
me
need.
give me the proper yang and then the proper yin, and we'll all be happy together.
And our bodies didn't come with an instruction manual, right? And so learning, and that's where like something like a pH, I know you want to say something. pH
No.
helps giving you that instruction manual. Say, this is the type of person you are.
Yeah.
This is what your body wants to eat. This is how it wants to exercise. This is how it wants to recover. This is
Yes.
when it wants to do certain things. All these sorts of things. It's kind of right there, along with fantastic technologies like an Aura ring for your HRV, your sleep quality, etc. Okay, I'm repeating myself. I think I'm done.
Well, yeah, but, listen, all this is going to go back to is that we're passionate about this stuff. We're passionate about what we could do for ourselves. We're passionate about
And for
the fact
people
that all
learning
of
it
us.
as well.
Yeah, and we do these. We don't do these for us. We do these, these Facebook Lives for the people, so that hopefully they take some nuggets from it and they can apply it to their life in whatever way they want to. Whether they PM me or you, or we work together in some capacity. The point is this: we all have an opportunity every single day to allow our body to produce what it can every day.
Yeah.
As long as you give it what it needs, you don't have to suffer from all these problems. And I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. The bottom line is, I'm just a big believer in this. I've always been for a very long time, and honestly, I don't avoid doctors. I just have never had a need. I think I've been to a doctor once or twice in the last 20, 25 years.
Wow.
One was I had a kidney stone once, and the other time I had a very bad chest infection. Yeah, so, but and not that I don't think that not being sick is good or bad. It's just I've been lucky because I take care of myself, and that's so I don't have as many medical costs as a lot of people do, because
Right.
just a little bit of prevention can help you along the way.
Yeah, it's what is it? The cure and prevention. One's more expensive, a lot more than the other. So yeah, look,
Yes.
for me it was a wake-up call that accelerated my health journey. Where it became a passion, I learned so much. I go, oh my God, people should know about this. So there we go.
So it took an intervention for you, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah, it did.
wake up. And listen, if it does for somebody, that's okay.
I
But
thought
if
I
you
was
can,
bulletproof. I thought I was bulletproof.
we talked about in the
No,
beginning.
There was a bullet heading my way, and I managed to duck the bullet.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God. So.
But here's the key, though. Here's the key. You took that situation, and what did you do with it?
I made changes.
You grabbed it. You grabbed it by the you know what, and say, okay,
Get the
I'm gonna
ball.
and I'm gonna run with this. I'm not gonna be reactive. I'm gonna be proactive.
Proactive. But then it
Yes.
became a passion. It took me
Yeah.
into a new world that I thought, whoa, and also revealed a lot of stuff in a world that I didn't know existed. That I thought, holy shit, this is what we've been doing with the systems and everything we've set up. Oh boy, it's broken. Here I am.
So are you woke AF?
Am I what?
Woke AF. You know what that means? So because you had that incident with your health, now you're woke as fuck. Woke
Oh,
AF.
yeah.
Woke
Oh, yeah.
A. That's a hashtag. So now you're woke. So the point is
I'm
we
the reformed
all get.
smoker in the worst
Oh.
way. No, I'm not a reformed smoker. I'm talking metaphorically. I've never smoked. But
Yeah.
they're the worst ones to have in the room, because when someone smokes, they're the ones that are most aggressive over pushing people to give up. You know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
anyway, so I'm going to go and recover out there now,
Beautiful.
barefoot on the sand, in the sun, getting vitamin D, smelling that fresh air coming off the sea, while
Perfect.
listening to some health podcast or talking to someone while I'm connecting with someone while I'm.
Awesome.
All
Do
right,
you ever
mate.
disconnect?
Do what?
Do you ever disconnect?
Oh, from what?
Just you and you, nobody else.
Oh, me and me. I do. I meditate in the mornings.
Awesome.
But I am from time to time now just disconnecting and just letting my mind run free and thinking about stuff and looking out to sea.
Yeah.
That's why I want to be here. On the balcony, I'll just look out there a lot of the time. That's also meditation.
No question. Well, I appreciate the time. I think it was a good hour so far, and looking forward to the next one. And everybody,
Absolutely.
take care of yourselves.
And remember to enjoy life right here, right now.
Be present. It's a gift.
Today.
It's
All
a
right,
gift.
So we'll catch you in the next one tomorrow. We might have the mystery guest. We'll see how we go. And for anybody that wants any help with regards to some proper, fine-tuned, passionately delivered education and support, motivation, and exercise, speak to that man right
Yes.
there, Matty Attanasio. You can PM him. And, any execs right now, I'm recruiting executives at the moment into my gig. We've got a few in there right now, with more starting to come in. And community-wise, hill.me and exec.reset's invitation only. So PM me if you want to be part of exec.reset. Okay, Matty, we'll see you in the next one. It's been great. Thanks, man.
You got it. Enjoy the
See you
sun.
next time.
Ciao.
Okay, bye.